Hi, everybody. Welcome. We are going to do some Pilates on the roller. And really, if you are new to doing Pilates or being on the roller, we want the full length roller. And I know some of us have those half rollers at home, so that was going to be a little bit tricky. So if you've got that full length roller, go ahead and grab it. We are going to start resting on our backs. And we have that roller just behind our knees, meaning I kind of have a little triangle here where that roller is going to be resting. And we're going to do about 45 minutes here on the roller. I'm going to record a second video that's going to have 20 minutes of roller massage. So if you're taking this and looking forward to a massage, know that that will also be up and you can dive into that one as well. So to start here, we're just going to get a little bit of stretching. Arms reach overhead. You can kick those legs long. You can always use that roller behind the knees to give you just a little bit of bend and release in the back, in the front of the thighs. Just a few deep inhales and exhales here. And then we're going to bring our arches on top of that roller, dropping knees over to the right side as our gaze goes to the left. Now, all of this can be done, especially this part right here, by not having the roller at all. So if it feels better to you to twist with feet on the floor, go ahead and put those feet on the floor. We're just breathing here. We're getting a sense of a little bit of opening through that rib cage area and hopefully a little sense of a little bit of stretch through not only that torso, but the hip structure. We'll bring our gaze to center, knees to center. We're going to drop on over to the other side. So knees to the left, gaze to the right. Deep inhales and exhales. Nothing's holding in. Let's do a little stretch here at the beginning of class. We'll come on back through center. We're going to use the roller here for a little bit of our stretching that we would typically do at the beginning of class for the front of the legs and backs of the thighs. So now I'm going to take that roller and place it right underneath my sacrum. And I'm careful here. I want to have, and it's always hard to see in these black clothes, I want to have a tilt to my pelvis. So to make sure I'm not arching my back and that my tailbone isn't going over that side. So we adjust that roller so we get the tilt to the pelvis to protect that low back. We're going to draw a right knee into your chest. You're going to see me a lot hold on to this roller. It has a tendency, especially with slippery clothes, to slide. So you can always hang on here. We're just drawing knee into chest while we keep this opposite leg on to get some release through this top leg. We'll kick the knee that is in towards us up towards the ceiling. So now we're going to get a little bit of hamstring stretch. You can flex and point the toe. Maybe circle that ankle around. And then we're going to switch sides. So we bring that foot to the floor. Again, ensuring we still have our nice little tailbone tuck. We're going to draw that opposite knee in. We just hang out here. You can always increase that stretch by drawing that knee in with a hand. Easy breathing, not a lot of effort, hopefully, here. We're going to kick that leg up towards the ceiling. We'll flex the foot. And we can circle around one direction and then the other. And hanging on to that roller, both knees are going to come into your chest. And from here, we're going to kick the legs up and down. So this gives you a little bit of extra lift. You're going to notice your thighs coming closer to you. You might experience a little bit more stretch. So we're just kicking up and down. And then we're going to pause. Since we're here, we might as well rock side to side. Now I'm rocking across the fleshy part of those glutes, not the bony part of our waistband. And we're getting a little bit of release through those glutes, also a little twisting. Nice stuff for those obliques, those muscles that turn us right and left. Just a couple more. This is usually the one that feels good, hopefully. A little bit of massage through those glutes. We're going to bring our knees into 90 degrees. We're going to flex our feet. So for now, I'm going to leave my hands either draping or holding on to the end I'm going to inhale to lower my legs. Now, because we're lifted, you're going to be much more prone to arch that back sooner. We're going to exhale, draw knees in, and we're going to draw knees in as close as they'll come. So feet stay together, we inhale, we lower. I'm not going to get very low before my rib cage starts to pop. You might get lower than me. We're going to exhale, draw knees back in. We're going to inhale, lower, and exhale. We're using those legs as counterweight, or actually weight, not counterweight. Inhale to warm up those low, deep abs. Exhale, belly draws in as we draw knees in. Let's do just one more here. Inhale, lower. Exhale, slowly lift back up. We're going to take legs straight up towards the ceiling. Now, for some of us, we're going to bring heels together, toes apart. If you're working with piriformis, sciatica, or anything in the SI joint, keep the inner edges of your feet pressing together. No external rotation, inner edges of feet together. Straight legs are going to start to lower. And again, yours are going to probably go lower than mine. We're going to exhale, lift just until they're perpendicular to the floor. We're going to inhale, lower. And exhale. Using exhale, draw that belly in. We'll do 3 more here. Inhale, lower. And exhale, slowly lift. 2 more. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift back up 1 more time. Inhale, lower. And exhale, slowly lift back up. If it feels good to you to let your knees drop in close, get that low back stretch. We're going to bring feet to the floor. We're going to slide off that roller. Let your legs extend, and I'm going to roll that roller just right underneath the backs of my ankles, my Achilles. We're going to do some roll-ups. This is harder for those of us who have a little tough time getting up and down. This is harder to have your legs higher. So it's okay to bring your feet off of that roller if you're experiencing a lot of interesting stuff here, if it's tough. We're going to lift our head and shoulders on your exhale. With that momentum, we're trying to roll over to touch those toes. And we get that nice stretch. And then we scoop to roll back down. Now, shoulders are out of the ears and collarbones are trying to reach wide. Let's reach arms overhead just to get that nice arm stretch. We're going to lift our head and shoulders. Draw that belly in. Exhale to roll up. Big difference between using abs to roll up and momentum. We're going to go ahead and keep your scoop as you roll back down. These are not easy moves to do. In fact, I think they're some of the hardest because we think mentally maybe that, oh, I should be able to do that really easily. Not when you're using abs and not momentum. We're going to reach up and over for those toes. And then we keep our scoop, shoulders melting down. Try not to cave in on that chest. Almost like we're pushing our shoulder blades to the back of our mat. Arms reach overhead. Just 2 more here. We're going to lift head and shoulders. We're going to exhale, roll up. Reaching for those toes. Great way to warm up the entire body for all we're about to do on that roller. We're going to scoop and roll back down. Arms reach up and overhead. Last one. We're going to lift head and shoulders. Exhale, roll up. Take a second here if it feels good for hamstrings and back to stretch up and over. You might also modify here by placing soles feet together and doing a nice little butterfly stretch. We're getting ready to run that roller from head to toe. So we're going to come running it really from top to the bottom of your mat. When you come on the roller, it's important to have your head and your tailbone supported. So the easiest way to do that, be careful if you got tailbone stuff, is just to hop up on. It's not easy really. We're going to lay back. So I have my entire spine supported. Just a couple of hints here. Anytime we're up on this roller, this instability we're creating, it's going to work more muscle. If you want to work really hard, the closer your feet are to each other, including inner edges and inner thighs pressing, harder work. Easier to balance with feet further apart and heels a little further from your buns or your roller. So if you're having some balance challenges, keep your feet wide, feet further away from you. If you want to make it a little bit more intense, heels closer and feet closer to each other. We're going to start with hands behind the head. We're going to interlace those fingers. We're going to notice if you've done mat Pilates and chest lifting, you're going to notice you hardly get anywhere, but guess what? You're doing a really good version of a chest lift if you hardly get anywhere on this one. We're going to exhale. We're going to lift the leg down at thighs. We're going to pause here at the top for an inhale, and then we'll exhale. We'll lower back down. Nice deep inhale to pause. Exhale, pull belly in as you lift. Now we're trying not to tuck the tailbone. Pause here. Exhale, lower back down. So a great reference of this really right on our tailbone as we exhale, lift. If we feel a little weight lighten in our tailbone, we're tucking. We're going to exhale, lower back down. Pause here for an inhale. Exhale, lift. Pause on your inhale. Exhale, lower down. One more like this. Deep inhale. Exhale, lift. Stay lifted. Now, if you want to challenge here, walk your feet closer, inner thighs closer. Continue the next 5 with those inner thighs and feet closer. We're going to exhale, lift. We pause on the inhale and exhale, lower back down. Pause here for your inhale. Exhale, lift. Pause at the top. Exhale, lower back down. Inhale here. Exhale, lift. Pause here. Exhale, lower down. Last time. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, lift. We're going to stay lifted again. We start to go into rotation. Sorry about the sun here. We're going to exhale. We're going to rotate as we get our elbow over to the opposite thigh. Come back through center, but don't lower down. We're going to exhale, rotate, and center. If this feels really crazy balance-wise, feet wider. Exhale and center. Exhale, opposite direction. Center. Your whole goal here is not to let your roller move. Exhale. So as you're coming up and over, you shouldn't feel that roller shift if we can. Exhale and center. 3 more sets. Exhale. Can you stay lifted through the center? Pressure head in your hands. Exhale. So we relieve that neck. Center. 2 more sets. Exhale and center. Exhale. Center. Last set. Exhale. Center. Last one. Exhale. Center. Go ahead. Lower down. Ooh, do I feel those? Arms can reach out to T. Hang out here for a second. Walk your feet a little bit wider towards the edges of your mat. We're going to use this roller as really nice counter stretch. Having that head lifted the whole time, everything we tighten in the chest and neck has an opportunity to just stretch here. When you're ready, if you'll reach your hands up towards the ceiling, we're going to clasp our knuckles. We're going to do a little bit for the shoulder blades here. We're going to press straight arms up towards the ceiling as if you could touch your knuckles to the ceiling. As you let your shoulders melt over the roller, see if you can give them a good squeeze to that roller. And it might be crunchy. There's some good connective tissue there. We're going to press knuckles up towards the ceiling. We release shoulder blades to melt over the roller and give it a good squeeze. We'll press knuckles and release shoulder blades. 2 more times. Press knuckles and release shoulder blades. 1 more time. Press knuckles and release shoulder blades. Take 1 arm overhead, 1 hand down by your side. Now your feet are wide to give you some balance here. We're going to do a little bit of scissor switching. And we're thinking about thumb aiming towards the floor when it's overhead and aiming towards the ceiling when it's down by your side. So we're just going to do at your own pace some scissor switches. 1 arm overhead, 1 down by your side. So it's a big stretch really for this underarm area and this side rib cage area just below the underarm and of course the tricep. In the meantime, we're kind of getting this massage through our rhomboids, the muscles between the shoulder blades and spine. We're going to do 1 more scissor switch each side. And then we'll eventually meet with our hands down by our side. So palms facing down, hands down by your side. We're going to work those low abs again. We're going to bring knees into 90 degrees. Now, you're going to notice that you might balance better with knees wider apart or inner thighs touching each other and inner edges of your feet. So just deciding here where you balance best. Typically, one hand is going to take more pressure than the other. If you want to increase your balance challenge, just leave the points of your elbows on the floor and send your fingertips up towards the ceiling. Just a couple more breaths here. Letting that body adjust to the balance. And then we're going to let our palms come down. One heel starts to lower towards the floor. We're going to switch and tap the other heel. Switch, tap, switch, tap. Just 5 of these. Switch, tap, switch, 3, switch, tap, switch, 4. One more time. Tap, switch, 5. Both knees come back up. Draw your knees into your chest. We're going to do a little bit here for our balance. Again, we're going to stretch legs now straight up towards the ceiling. Harder to balance with legs straight up. Remember, you can keep knees fairly soft if this feels intense in back, and of course you can always go back to your 90-degree knees. So legs straight up towards the ceiling. Just breathe in here. If you can, pull your palms off, just leave the points of your elbows on while your legs are straight up towards the ceiling. Think about engaging that core. That belly can help you balance on the roller. When it's engaged, we're getting a better sense of grounding, a better sense of centering, and more balance. Feet come to the floor. We're going to do a little bit here for just a nice shoulder stretch. So hands start down by your side, palms face up. We're going to make a snow angel. So we're going to slide hands along the floor. And we try to keep a connection, at least with the hands. Unlikely for most of us that it's going to be forearm or elbow. And then we slide hands back down by the side. So we're going to inhale, reach arms overhead. Exhale, and again, if balance feels tricky, feet wider and further from your buns. Inhale, reach arms overhead. This is good stuff to release all that tension we build when we're seated, when we are working on computers, when we're on technology. I am in just the exact right spot today for the sun to come right through my blinds. We're going to do one more. I know it looks weird. Let's slide down a little bit. And then we're going to go ahead, bring your hands down by your side. We're going to take your right knee into tabletop. Right knee comes into tabletop. And then we're going to reach your left arm overhead. So right knee tabletop, left arm overhead. I'm going to get out of that sun. When you're ready, we're going to tap the palm to the knee. We're going to inhale, reach the leg and stretch the arm. Exhale, bend in. So a balance challenge. Inhale, reach, but also abs. So we're trying to draw belly in on that exhale to tap. Inhale, reach. And exhale, tap. Inhale, reach. Exhale, tap. 2 more. Inhale, reach. Exhale. 1 more. Inhale, reach. Exhale, draw that knee in here for a second. Place that foot back on the floor. We're going to switch side. The left knee comes up, right arm reaches overhead. Find your balance first. Bring that hand to tap the thigh. Inhale, lengthen the leg and stretch the arms. We're going to exhale, tap. Inhale, reach. Exhale, tap. 3. Inhale, reach. Exhale, tap. 4. Inhale, reach. Exhale, tap. 5. And reach. Exhale, 6. Reach. 2 more. Exhale, tap. Inhale, reach. Last time. Exhale, tap. Inhale, reach and lengthen. Foot comes down, hand comes down. And we're going to start this rocking side to side. Now, if you're ready to melt off of this roller, you're done with it, go ahead and come on off. If it feels okay here, we might spend a little bit of time just rocking on each side of that spine. And when you're ready, you're going to eventually just melt off to one side, slide that roller out, and let your back stay here on the mat for a moment. You're going to feel that weird, what feels like a little flesh tunnel from all that pressure that we had on our skin and those nerve endings. Draw your knee into your chest. Let that help roll you up. We're going to take the roller right behind our shoulder blades. So I'm going to slide it sideways now. I'm going to lean back, and this is going to be different for everybody. So I'm pretty short-waisted. When I start this process, I'm really trying to find the space where I can go up and over without arching my back. And for me, it's right about mid shoulder blades. Yours might be low shoulder blades or a little bit higher. I'm going to hang on to my hair here, and you want to do the same. We're going to interlace fingers behind the head so it supports the head. We'll inhale up and over. As you exhale, draw belly in, lift head to look down at thighs. Inhale up and over. Now we're combining a couple of things here. Of course, ab work. Exhale, lift back up. But we're also getting some stretch through that chest again, through that tight shoulder and neck area as we exhale, lift back up. Inhale, and a little massage across that mid-thoracic where it can be really tight as well. Exhale, lift. 3 more of these. Inhale, and exhale, lift. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale, lift. Make sure we're drawing that belly in on every exhale. Inhale. Exhale, lift. We're going to go ahead and come off of that roller here for a second. A forward fold stretch just to counter. So you might have straight legs and fold forward. You might do soles of feet together and round forward. We just want to counterbalance all that back bending with a little bit of forward fold here for a moment. Right, time to work those hamstrings. We're going to take our roller, just bring it around in front of us. Let's do a roll down just to make it nice to transition. We'll stretch the legs, we'll stretch that roller. We're going to scoop and start to roll back. We'll bend those knees. We're going to take our roller, slide it behind those knees. I managed to go on the hardest side, of course, near my board. Sorry for the noise. And then we're going to bring our arches on. I don't know why I didn't go the other way. Arches come on. Now, because our arches are on, what you're going to find, if these were my feet, is a lot of times when we're sort of peeling, you're going to find your toes want to rotate out. That's pretty natural. We just want to make sure our knees don't drop out. We want to keep our thighs nice and parallel. Hands down by your side to make it more of a balance. You're more stable here. Arms out into a T to make it more of a balance challenge. So be careful here. Choose what makes sense for you. This one, it's important. I know we're on the roller and we're watching it on screen. We want to keep our gaze towards the ceiling the whole time. Try not to view that screen at a side. Look while you have your hips lifted. That's not good stuff for your neck vertebrae. All right, here we go. We're going to tuck the pelvis. We're going to start to peel the back. And we're going to lift the hips. What I like about being on this roller is you can really feel the peel of the back. On your next exhale, we're lowering from shoulder blades, mid back, low back. Our hips hit, and we release into a nice neutral pelvis. We're going to tuck the tail. We start to peel. We lift until we're just that straight ramp from your shoulders, hips through the knees. And then we're going to exhale, melt back down. So we're trying to keep those thighs parallel. Feet might wiggle a little bit because we've got those arches on. They might externally rotate. Be careful not to let those knees rotate out. We're going to tuck. We're going to peel. And we're going to lift. We'll pause here at the top. We're going to exhale, melt back down. This lifted leg is really going to target a little bit, or lifted foot more specifically, a little bit more of that hamstring. We're going to tuck, feel, peel, and lift. So if you are feeling more hamstring working here, there's a good reason. We're going to pause. You can feel and peel. We're going to melt back down. One last time here. We're going to tuck. We're going to peel, and we're going to lift. So we're going to do an exercise here that if your back is fired up today, please do not lift a foot off. You're going to just shift weights without shifting hips. We want our hips to remain parallel. If your back isn't bugging you, we're going to press weight into the left leg and lift the right knee into tabletop. So weight either lifted off or right knee, we lower that right knee down. Now, can you keep your hips high and parallel while you're doing this. You're going to shift weight to the right foot and lift the left knee up. And we lower that leg back down. One more time each side. Shift weight to the left and lift that right knee up and lower back down. Remember, we've got our gaze on the ceiling. We're going to shift weights to the right and lift that left knee up and lower back down. Everybody, exhale, melt back down. We're going to take that roller, and once again, we're going to roll it until the back of our sacrum is on top. So now we've created a ramp without having to go anywhere, right? We're not firing the hamstrings. We're going to take and hold on to that roller end or up and over. Kick one leg back towards you. The other leg is going to lift so you find your version of the splits. Now, if you flex feet, you're going to get more stretch for the back of the leg. If you point toes, you're going to get more stretch for the front of the leg. So it's really what you want to emphasize here. So we're going to start scissor switching. We're going to switch in or reach the legs, switch, reach, switch, reach, switch, reach, switch, reach, switch 3, switch, reach, switch 4, switch, reach 5. Again, gaze on the ceiling when our hips are lifted. Reach, switch 7, switch, reach, and pause on 8. Both feet meet back up towards the ceiling. We're going to do a little bit of bicycling here. And bicycling is all about the stretch. So we're going to start to cycle forward, and don't overthink it. Just start your bicycle forward. Now, if your legs are long enough and you have the flexibility, we're actually trying to brush those toes on the mat as they cycle away from us. Now, in addition, we're pulling belly in. We can even pull up on that pelvic floor. It's a good Kegel moment. Good Kegel exercise as we continue to ride our bike forward. We're getting some hamstring stretch, some front of the thigh stretch. And then when you're ready, you're going to reverse it. You're going to start to ride your bicycle backwards. Now, if I could dip my toes to touch the mat, always a little bit harder in the back bicycle, but we have the idea that I could dip my toes to touch the mat as I cycle backwards. Now I'm using abs, so every exhale, we're trying to draw belly in. We've got one more round here. And then when you're ready, we're going to pause with legs back up towards the ceiling. We're going to bring our heels together, toes apart, and squeeze the heck out of our inner thighs. Inhale to lower those straight legs at an angle where you don't pull out of your rib cage, so belly isn't poofing. We're going to inhale, bend our knees in. We're going to exhale to press legs back out, our frog feet. Inhale, bend. Now, if you're working with piriformis stuff or sciatica, you might keep inner edges of your feet and knees together as you exhale, press up. Inhale, bend. Exhale, press. 3 more sets here. Inhale. Exhale, press. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale, press. 1 more. Inhale. Exhale, press. We're going to bring knees into chest, make any adjustments you need to on the roller. If it's wiggled away from you, we've got a few more things to do here. We're going into our corkscrew. So legs are going to go straight up towards the ceiling. It's a little hard to see on the screen, but the idea is that we're going to be rocking back and forth and making a half circle down around. So I'm going to drop my legs to the right. I'm going to let my legs circle down around like I'm tracing the bottom lip of a grin. They come up to the left, and then I bring them center. We're going to alternate sides. So we're going to go left, circle them down around. They come up on the right, and we come back center. Drop right and circle. Come back through center. Drop left, exhale, down around. And center, drop right, exhale, down around. And center, drop left, circle down around. Now, in addition, we're getting a nice little sacral massage here. One more set. We're going to drop and circle. And center, drop left, circle. And center. We're going to take advantage of being here for just a quick front of the thigh stretch. So again, adjust your roller if you need to. Bring your left foot to the floor. Right knee comes into the chest. And if possible, we're going to take our hands and interlace around the outside or backside of that right thigh. And you have some choices with this left leg. You can leave the sole of the foot on. You can stretch the leg out straight. You can stretch it straight and then let the knee bend so you have a long extended leg with a soft knee. It's a nice front of the thigh stretch, also hopefully a little bit of our psoas stretch. Couple more breaths here. It's a nice one. I like this one for the way that it complements all of what we're doing to tighten and strengthen this area, but now we're finding that link. Draw both knees into chest. Hang on to the left knee. Right foot comes to the floor. And this is where we start to determine where we want to go from here. Do we want to leave the right foot on the floor? Do you want to extend that leg out, let it hover with a straight leg? Do you extend it out and let the knee soften and heel come towards the floor? We'll do 2 more breaths here. Bend that knee if the foot isn't already on the floor. Both feet come on the floor. Option to stay put here, especially if you're working with a pinchy low back today, you want to stay put here. If it feels good to you, you might start to lengthen and extend the legs in a similar way that we just did, but now both legs are long and we're in fairly deep back bend to stretch and release the front of the pelvis. Now I'm going to keep my feet bent or knees bent, feet on, just because I'm still working with that little fun back stuff. That's a better idea for me, but you might have those legs lengthened. If your legs are straight, start to bend your knees, bring the soles of the feet on. We're going to bend our knees into our chest for a nice counterbalance. You can also, and carefully, if you're kicking feet overhead, your gaze is on the ceiling. You can kick your feet overhead and look more like a plow in yoga or a roll over in Pilates. So maybe legs a little further overhead to get that low back stretch. That still might feel just exactly perfect to have knees bent, heels in towards the buns. One more breath here. We're going to bend those knees, sole of the feet come on. Lift your hips. Let that roller go out towards your heels. And we're going to spend just about 4 breaths here, resting on our back with nothing underneath our pelvis. You can also extend the legs and leave that roller behind the knees. I'm going to get just a nice maybe not realignment, but a nice relaxed space for your pelvis. To come out of this, let's roll to our side. So you're just going to roll to your side and we'll rise up. All right, I'm going to take that roller and I'm going to send it to what will be the top of my mat. Careful here for anyone working with osteoporosis or osteopenia. This one, or penia, is not to be done on the roller at all. Forearm is a better idea. And I wouldn't actually bring your forearm on the roller. I'd bring your forearm on the mat. If it's okay to have pressure in the wrists, we're going to leave that hand and palm on, all fingers over to one side. It's tempting to have your little, I call it the crab claw, where the thumb is over, but we're going to see if we can get all fingers over to one side. So we're kneeling and we're going to extend the opposite leg. The arm reaches up towards the ceiling and we're just going to hang out here. We can be on forearm or palm can be on the mat. I'm going to end up turning away from you because it's easier than wiggling this roller around. You saw my skills so far, right? Not great. So we're going to switch sides and reach up. Now you can guess where we're headed here. We're going to be doing some side work and this is going to be our only stabilizer. It's going to make our arms and our core work pretty darn hard. Right now, we're just getting that good stretch. Come on down. We're going to switch to our original space. This whole series can be done resting on your side or resting on the elbow without the roller. So if this doesn't suit you to be on roller, or it doesn't suit your back or piriformis to be here, come rest on your side, stack shoulders and hips. Don't use a roller at all. All right, we're gonna reach the arm up to create a little bit of instability. We're trying to make sure this bottom arm that we have that wrist right underneath our shoulder, not beyond, because then you're working really hard. We're gonna flex your top foot. We're gonna exhale, lift the leg up and lower it down. Now our core here is stabilizing. Exhale, and 2. Exhale, 3. Exhale, 4. Exhale. If this gets into your neck, you can always look down at the roller. Exhale, 6. Your leg might go a lot higher than mine. 7. One more time. Exhale, lower 8. Switch sides. So I'm going to turn away from you. We're going to do that same idea, stabilizing wrist right underneath shoulder, top arm reaching, flex that foot. We're going to lift the leg up and lower it down. Exhale, 2. Exhale, lift. 3. Exhale, 4. Exhale, 5. Exhale, 6. Exhale, 7. One more time. Exhale, 8. Go ahead and come into tabletop. Now, if this is accessible to you, we're going to let our roller go for right now. We're going to come into pigeon in yoga or sleeping swan in yin, where your right knee comes forward. We kind of kick that foot right in front of the thigh, and we're just going to let ourselves sink into that hip to get a little side stretch here. You can fold forward. Now, if this one doesn't work for you, just because based on where we're at here, you might press back into either a child's pose with a side reach, where you're walking hands over to one side, or you might hang out just in child's pose to get that nice release. So for those of us with that right knee forward, we're now going to switch it. You're going to come to left knee forward and walk it around. If you are in child's pose and reaching one side, you're going to reach. You're going to reach. You're going to reach towards the other. It's not so bad when it's a live class, but when it's recorded and I can't talk, that's tricky with your reach. One more breath here. All right, we're going to rise back up, tabletop. 2 versions here. We're back to palms on and all fingers over on one side, or we're on forearms here. So palms or forearms, or obviously no roller at all. You can take that roller away. So here we're going to do a little bit with that lower part of the body. I'd like to have my shoulders right above my wrists. I'm going to extend my right leg. I'm going to lift that right leg up. I'm going to see if I can reach my left arm. So this is creating a big balance challenge for that core. We're careful not to sway the back. So I'm pushing the roller away from me. I have a tiny tailbone tuck. I'm going to bring the hand down. I'm going to bring the knee down and give it a good little wiggle. We're going to do the other side. This time the left leg extends. Push that roller away from you. Lift the hip, or lift the leg without lifting the hip. Right arm extends. Come on down. Take a second, stretch out those wrists. You can circle them around, wiggle them around. It gets a little bit harder. So we're going to take our roller and we're going to take it and roll it right underneath the middle of our shins. And I'm going to come into my tabletop. And I'm going to make some wiggling around here. I'm going to decide where I want to go. For me, it's a little bit better to have it just below my knees at the top of my shins. You might find it's better for you to be middle of shins. We're going to go back to our balance. We're going to extend our right leg. Now guess where our weight is resting? Right through that knee. So we might make some accommodations for that. We might just extend the left fingertips and leave them on the mat. Or we might be able to lift the arm. Whoa, it's going to be crazy for me. Maybe for you too. hand comes down, knee or shin comes down. We go to the other side. We're going to lengthen opposite leg. We can walk those fingertips out, or the opposite hand can lift. Not my best balance side, as you can see. And we're going to come on down. We're going to do one more ab work here, workout here. So palms are on, or you can always go to fists. We're going to use our knees to roll in and release. So we're going to roll across those shins. But really, when we think about knees drawing through elbows, we're actually thinking about engaging abs. So we're going to exhale, draw knees through elbows. Inhale, release with control. Exhale, draw knees and release. Exhale, draw knees. Now, if you're not doing this one, lots of reasons not to do this one. Take a second to take a break in child's pose. Exhale, draw knees and release. One last time. Exhale, draw knees and release. We're going to take it off of that roller. Roll the roller to the top of your mat. We're going to do a little thread the needle to release that upper body. So we'll reach one arm up towards the ceiling. Let it dive underneath. And just pause here for a second. We're giving those arms a break. Breathing fully in your twist. When you're ready, unthread the needle and reach it up towards the ceiling, maybe wiggle that arm around and then bring that hand down. We're going to switch sides. Other arm reaches underneath. And just hanging out here, getting that good stretch to that shoulder structure. We'll unthread the needle, reach that arm up towards the ceiling, give it a good wave. Hand comes back down. We're going to come on to our bellies. We're going to just do one back bend here, but it's fairly intense. So if you're working with shoulder stuff, I actually don't recommend using the roller at all. You'll have your hands out into a 90 degree. When you're pressing up, you're going to use your hands to press up. And you only go as high as your back agrees. Now, if shoulders cooperate, and you want to give this one a whirl, we're going to bring really what's right in our wrist with thumbs up. And it's hard to see here, but my arms are more in a letter V, trying to take up most of the roller versus straight up and overhead. Now my feet are going to stay on the floor. And again, we either have palms on the floor or on the roller. I'm going to inhale to lift and roll it towards me. I'm going to exhale, lower down. I'm pushing through my forearms on that roller. So I'm going to inhale, lift, and exhale, lower. Inhale. Now the hard part is, can you hold your belly in on the inhale, or one of the hard parts? Inhale, lift. We have a nice neutral neck too, so we're not necessarily looking up at the top of our mat. More than likely our nose and gaze pointed down towards the mat. And lower, let's do 3 more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. 2 more. Inhale, lift. Exhale. 1 more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Counterbalancing that either by resting here with feet really wide, maybe hands down by your side, or pressing back into child's pose. 5 breaths, no matter where you're at. Space to release shoulders, to release back, especially that deep back bend. That's a pretty darn deep back bend. We're going to rise up. We're using the roller or not. We're going to come to forearms. So forearms on the roller with hands clasped. And you want to have enough space that when you go out into your plank, that you can kind of tuck your tailbone and still have your feet on your sticky mat. That's going to be important. You want your roller and your feet on your sticky mat, not off, or else they kind of get away from you. All right. So we're getting ready. Push that roller into the floor with your elbows. You're going to extend into your plank. Now your inclination is going to have your booty in the air. Tighten your thighs, tuck your tailbone, and hold here for that plank. Now we're trying to keep that roller as steady as possible. This can also be done without the roller. Ooh, dang, my abs are shaking like crazy. One more breath here. We're going to come down to knees. If you can leave those elbows on, we're just going to stretch tailbone back. We're going to rise back up. We've got one more to do. This time, if you like, alternate lifting your feet. So we're going to press that roller away, extend the legs, find your plank first, and then decide if you want to alternate lifting and lowering feet. You can do 3 on each side. Otherwise, you're holding your plank. You're using those abs. Everybody comes on down. Take a second, rock back, release here. We're going to rise back up. Give your shoulders a little bit of roll. As I mentioned at the beginning of this class, that's it for Pilates, but there's a nice little video here for a full body massage on the roller to finish class off with if you have time. Otherwise, come visit that video when you get a chance.